Rick.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Now I
good.
can hear you.
Yeah. How are you today?
Not too bad. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Thank you. So, Rick, it's a pleasure to meet you today to this interview.
Oh, it's an honor to be on the show.
Wonderful. So, Rick, your 10th studio album, The Final Chapter, was out last March. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and the production behind this album?
The songwriting was all done by Freddie, the guitarist and vocalist of Necronomicon. It was, let's see, it was done for about a year. We were talking after we had a tour together when I was in Dark Ministry. And he asked me to join the band, and he said that he had some songs that he wanted to put together.
Yeah.
And so we went down, and he showed me one song, partial of it, and then asked me to come to Germany to record the drums. So I went down there, and we recorded all the drums within about 3 to 4 days. And then everything went into production. I got the guitarist Glenn Shannon to do all the leads for the band.
Yeah.
And everything went very well from there. And then the album has been selling, it's been getting very good reviews ever since, and we're very, very happy about that.
Sounds good. Sounds great. Sounds great, Rick. And was there any particular concept that was put behind this album?
The particular concept, well, we didn't know what Freddie meant when he came up with the name, The Final Chapter. We didn't know if he was going to say this is the last album for the band. And Glenn and I were wondering what was going on because we just joined the band. And so we're like, well, if it's the last album, let's make it the best album we can. And so in Freddie's mind as well, I think he was kind of toying with the fact that if this album didn't do well, it may be the end of Necronomicon, or in another sense, he might have been thinking it's the end of the old Necronomicon and the beginning of the new Necronomicon. So maybe the final chapter of the old stuff and a new chapter of the new. So to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what he was thinking, but it seems to work.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And the cover art is a bit fascinating. So can you tell me a bit about the making of the cover art and how it is related to the album?
The cover art, that was all Freddie that came up with that. I had some ideas. He was asking me to make some ideas for the cover art. And I had things with like a book, because it's called The Final Chapter. So there would be a book on the table with candles and everything, evil writing around. And then Freddie just came up with the album cover the way it is now. I don't know where he got the concept from, but it's that's the way it came out.
Sounds good. And the album, moreover, like focused on war, especially the song Storm Reaper, and a lot of songs get revolved around war, and particularly on Russia and Putin and all the stuff. So it sounds like a prophecy that this war is coming up last year itself.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic how that turned out, that he was talking about war and everything, and now Ukraine's in a war with Russia, which is a very bad situation, like especially for the Ukrainians, because they're very nice people. And I don't know why Putin is doing this, but nobody knows. And but I can just tell you that the president of Ukraine, wow, that's one hell of a man. He's the only man that I've ever seen as a president that would be in the front lines fighting with his people. Absolutely. And that is something, like that you have to have a lot of courage for. And so, when Freddie wrote the album, it was all about war and other stuff. And it's almost like he predicted what was going to happen. I thought for sure when we were making the album, that's when the virus is out, so I thought that was going to be maybe the main focus was going to be on the virus, but no, he chose something else, and look what's happening now.
Yeah. And talking about the band again, like you joined for this album, and almost except for Freddie, everybody's almost new to the band. So how did it
Yeah.
all turn out, and how did you guys come up with an amazing album like this?
Again, Freddie's the songwriter, so anything that he comes up with, no matter what he comes up with, it will sound like Necronomicon. I don't play like regular thrash drummers from Germany, so that's what he wanted. He wanted something completely different on drumming wise. Glenn plays um, a different style of soloing than German thrashers as well. And Marco's been in the band for since 2008, I think, and it's all Freddie's vision. So when Freddie makes the songs, he has a vision of what he wants.
Mhm.
We come in, we do our stuff, and if he doesn't quite like what he has in his mind and what we're playing, he'll ask us to change it. And so that's what just to please to make the song the best, because Freddie makes these songs and somehow he has hooks in the songs, and you don't see that anymore in thrash music.
Yeah.
Something that brings you in to the song so you can remember the song. A lot of bands don't do that anymore. They have so many different riffs and parts in the song that you don't even know if it's the same song sometimes.
Yeah,
But not with Freddie. Not with Freddie. And that's what I liked about the band. And as soon as I heard the songs, I was like, "Yep, this is gonna go good."
Sounds good. And do you guys currently have any touring that is in schedule?
We were supposed to tour. That's kind of a story in its own here, because when we had finished recording of the album, and we were supposed to tour in 2020 for the album itself in Eastern Europe, but then the virus hit.
Yes.
So we were in Germany already, ready to go, and we're practicing and rehearsing for the shows. And 2 days after we started rehearsing, everything started closing up, and then they closed all the borders and everything, and the tour got canceled on us. So now Glenn and I were trying to get back to America and Canada, and so and that took about 10 days. So right now, we're hoping, like, the tour was supposed to be rescheduled to March, so this month and April. Yeah. But since the situation in Ukraine, that's, like, we said, no, we can't do this. We were talking about that as well before, like a couple of months before, because of the virus was still a little bit too much, too rampant out there. And the Canadian government was making it hard for me to leave and come back. And so now the tour is scheduled, hopefully, if everything turns out, if the world comes back to its normal way, and Putin gets out of Ukraine and stops all this stuff, the tour is scheduled for September. So we're hoping that we can get this done, because we really want to get out there and tour for the fans.
Amazing. And what would be some of the upcoming plans? Do you guys plan to go back into the studio to make more music?
Oh yeah. Freddie's already writing new songs for the next album right now. So that was our plan. Like, if we wouldn't have been able to tour this year again, what we were going to do is like, Freddie's already started writing songs, so we were going to put out a new album. So then we'd have 2 albums with this lineup to tour with.
Wonderful.
So that, so that's still in the works as well, because we're going to be doing the album as well anyway.
Sounds great.
Doesn't matter if we're touring or not. We're going to be still doing the album, and it's somewhere in between there.
Sounds great. And how do you feel to be a drummer for Necronomicon, an amazing German thrash metal band?
Oh, it's great. Like I've been in music for a long time,
Yes.
and uh, now that I'm in Necronomicon, it's a great band to be in. We all get along very well. We have a good laugh. Uh, the music is great, so I'm completely pleased in the situation. I'm just hoping that everybody else will see that how this band is more powerful somehow because of all our different influences now. Like Glenn and I have the Western influences, and they have the Eastern
Yeah.
influences on thrash metal. So um, it's we put that all together, and this is what happened to this album. It turned into a big, powerful album. So we hope that this translates on stage as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. And would you like to share some of the great moments that you had over the years?
Oh, some of the great moments I had over the years, like when I was in other bands, you mean?
Anything in general, anything is fine.
Oh, some of the great moments I had was playing in Vaken with the band Exciter,
Mhm.
and playing in front of 78,000 people. And another thing that was great was playing in front of it at the 70,000 tons of metal.
Yeah,
The cruise that was something else. If nobody's ever done that before, they have to do it at least once in their lives because it's amazing. And other times than that, I don't care if I'm playing on a big stage or a small stage. So I can be playing in front of thousands of people or hundreds of people or 50 people. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm there to play a show for them. They paid for us to be there. I give them my 100%.
amazing, amazing.
So
And
sometimes the small shows actually turned out better than the big shows, believe it or not.
absolutely, absolutely. And Rick, you're currently the drummer for Necronomicon, but do you also work with other bands, or do you work on certain other projects as well?
I have my own band called Dark Ministry.
Mhm.
Uh, we did uh, we did a demo album, so 3 song demo, and it got released and it was, I don't know if how well it did, but uh, the fans in Europe seemed to like it when we did the tour with Necronomicon, and we came back. We did basically we recorded a whole album, but somehow there was an internal turmoil in the band
Yeah.
and some sabotage. There was a little bit of sabotage here and there. That now uh, the band's gone. I still have the music, but I don't know if I want to if I want to release it or not because I don't have their consent to release the songs either, and we're not in talking terms at this moment. And right now, there is talks about something else in the works. It has to do with me and some other musicians. You know, I don't know if I should be telling anybody because it's going to be a big surprise when it happens. Because it has to do with one of the bands from my past, and right now he's in that band, and it's going to be something hopefully that will be really good as well. But that's just a project right now, and it has to do with one of the guys from Attacker on the vocals as well. So it's going to be, hopefully, if it does go, it's going to be something that people will be interested in seeing what it's like. And that's just a project right now where we don't know how well it'll do or anything because we all have our respective bands that is our number one priority, which myself is Necronomicon, the other guy is Attacker, one of the guys is I'll just say one of the other guys is Exciter, and then there's Joe Thrasher as well. We're all getting together and trying to get something like some kind of project going on.
Amazing. Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. And do you also do some clinics and do you take students for drums?
I used to give drum lessons. I stopped doing that geez, at least about 7 or 8 years ago. I don't have very much, I'm a good teacher, but I don't have very good patience with people that, so it's kind of hard for me to do that job. I like doing it, but it still was a little bit of a challenge for me. Clinics, no, I've never done any clinics. I've never been invited to do one. No, I've never done any clinics. I just do the stuff on the albums and play shows, and that's it.
Sounds good. And any big dreams that you have?
Well, big dreams would be for, like if split screen management can get us some big shows and get us on the big tours with other big bands out there, like my big dream is to do exactly. I've been drumming for so long, like I'm 54 now, and I wanted to always be just a full-time musician, and if split screen can get something that we can do this full time, all of us all together, that'd be like a dream come true for me, because then we can be playing all around, just doing, just concentrating on music full time.
Sounds amazing. And how is it working along with split screen management so far?
So far, everything's going very well. Tarja and Chemo are amazing. They're always talking to us about upcoming things, interviews. That there's always something every week, at least. If they don't talk to us every day, there's something every week that they have to tell us about what's going on. And right up to now, that's the best thing that's happened for end. We're doing really well with them. I think we have a very good rapport, and I'm hoping that this really turns out really good for us.
Amazing, amazing.
For Necronomicon, for them as well.
Amazing, amazing. And finally, Rick, what would be the message that you want to give to your fans around the world?
The message I want to give to fans out there is, everybody out there, we know that there's turmoil in the world right now with the Ukrainian war and Russia. Hopefully that will, stop, and somebody will come to senses and stop what's going on before it turns out to be even worse.
Yes.
And for the 2.5 years that the virus has been around, I know it's been very hard on bands, fans, you name it, stores, anything, any type of business has suffered through all this. And all I'd like to say is, I know that there's a light at the end of this tunnel, and we have to keep pushing to get through to the end of this pandemic, and hopefully through the end of this war, and then everything will come back to normal, and then everybody should be like, it should be one hell of a big relief for everybody. And I'm just hoping that this happens very, very soon for everybody, not just us, for everybody around the world.
Amazing, amazing. And Rick, I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today to have this interview with you. It's a real pleasure to meet you and to have this interview with you. And thanks for making amazing music with Necronomicon and with your other band. Thanks again for.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you like I'm glad you like the album.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you, Rick. And you have a great day ahead. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.